There we go. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. What are we going to learn? Today we're going to be looking at resources, the tools we're going to use for this class, and we're going to start our grammar work. All right. The grammar that I'm starting with, whether your English level is very, very high or very low, it doesn't matter your English level on this. I'm going to be starting at the beginning. So if you are if your level is low and you want to build that and build your understanding of grammar, build your ability to write, speak, and express yourself, this is going to help you do that in little steps. If your level is high, but you have been frustrated in really expressing exactly what you need, especially for the academic world, this will give you a chance to rebuild your grammar so that you can efficiently and concisely write what you need to say. So there we go. Let's start with the tools. So I'm going to be using Padlet for a great deal of this and these following websites. So starting with the Padlets. The first thing that we're going to look at is the homework board, right? So we're going to look at the homework board. Close the share. So this is where I will give you your assignments each week. And yep, there we go. So this is where we'll get your assignments each week. Here's the link that will get you there. Now, this will work either in a browser like Chrome or Firefox, or whichever browser you use. And it will also work for the app, if you use the app as well. All right. So let me just switch to the other. Oh, yeah, that's it. Zoom. And here we go. So this is where you'll find your homework. Is on the Padlet homework board. As you see, I've put in the homework for this week. So we have things to read, things to listen to, and a grammar challenge. So, but let's work our way through this. So that's our first tool, is our homework board. Going back to, so get the kinks out of this eventually. Yep, there we go. So going back to our PowerPoint, very elegantly. The next one is the storyboard. And that's where we're going to share links to articles and our opinion of them. So let's take a look at that one. So once again, here, and here is the storyboard. So I didn't do that very well. Oh, I know what I can do. Just move this up. All right, I'm going to be awkward this time. It's all there is to it. Storyboard. There we are. Come on. You can do it. It's let me. All right. So I'll just do it this way. So on this board, you will be able to write about something that you have read. Now, depending on what platform you're using, if you're on a browser, on a computer, there'll be a plus sign in the bottom corner down here. And when you hit that, you can add your article. Okay, so this is an article I like. All right, if you do that, you tab down and then you can add the link to the article and you can describe the article. Okay, and then when you press publish, up it goes onto the board. All right, so this one is an example. All right, so give it a try. Anytime you read something, especially something that you think other students will like, make sure that you write a post on the storyboard. All right. And we can comment and talk about each other's articles as well. So, and the last of all is the word board. And this one is where I would like for you to add new grammar and vocabulary that you find. So when you're working with, when you come up with a word that you don't know and you look it up, especially on the Cambridge Dictionary, then you can write a little note about it here. Now see, I've chosen light up and I put in the link. So if you click on this, it will go to that page of the Cambridge Learners Dictionary. So you can read about the word on the word board and you can go there by clicking on the link. Yeah, there we go. All right. Any questions about Padlet? All right. So I'm going to put I'm going to put the link in the chat so that you can see it. First, we're going to go back here. Into there. Okay. So all of these links you should be able to find easily on this PowerPoint. Yeah. There. Everyone okay? There we go. Oh, somebody's found the annotate button. Very good. So there's the homework board. Here we go. There's the storyboard in the chat. And here is the word board. So excellent. There we go. So these are how we're going to be communicating. I'm going to be communicating your homework to you, and this is how you can do some work. Now, we will use the annotate, but not right now. And I do have to clear the drawings so they come with us. Right. So that's where we're going to do our work, but what is the source for our work? Well, the first thing I want to show you is the Cambridge Online Dictionary. And this is my absolute favorite dictionary online. Everyone confess, you Google words, right? Everybody Google words. Maybe words or phrases. How much rubbish do you have to? How many wrong answers do you have to sort through before you find the right one? And also, you get distracted because Google comes up with all sorts of other things for you to look at. Yes. Exactly. So where I want you to go, if you really need to find a word, here is the place that you can go. Um, and let's see. There we go. So here it is. This is, unfortunately, there's lots of advertisements around it. It is free on the browser. Okay, it's free on your browser. There is a paid app as well, but it's free on the browser. I love it. The best thing about it is that you can find the answer to all of those phrases and idioms that are just inexplicable. You can't look up the individual words in a translating dictionary because it doesn't make any sense. So, and once again, we don't want to go to Google because we get so distracted when we go there. So how do we get ahead with our English? Well, we can type in the word get and look at that. We've got a list of phrases that begin with the word get. Okay, so we've got this list of phrases that begin with the word get. So I'm going to try get ahead. How do we get ahead with our English? By using the Cambridge Dictionary. All right, it has UK and US pronunciation, so you can work on that as well. And the definitions are reliable and accurate, and you will not waste time anymore. So the word page, the word board, is a great place to look up a word. So if we wanted to put this on the word board, we could copy the link and go to the word board and hit that plus sign in the corner. If you're using a tablet or any other touch sensitive device, you can double tap on the screen. This will be uploaded, it'll be on YouTube, and Corinne will be sending you a link to this lecture, so it will be available. Okay, so on this, all I have to do is hit that plus sign, and now I've got a new one, and I'm going to say get ahead. And here I can put in the link, and there it goes. And down here, I can use the word I want to get ahead in business. Or, yeah, how about even better, in my education. Even better. There we go. All right. And as soon as I hit publish, there it goes. There's another word. All right. So add your words to this. It will help you remember if you do that. And it will also get more, give more vocabulary to your classmates. So it's a great way for us to help each other. All right. Next, where are we next? Next. So there's our dictionary. Now, grammar review. Yes, all the excitement. It's unending excitement here. So here is a chance for interactive lessons, single topic reviews of grammar. Go ahead, start with A1. It's your challenge. Start with A1 and build up from there. I love taking a beginning class in anything that I've done a lot of. So even if my grammar is very high, a beginning German class will help me because I'll learn something I might have missed before. And I love that. So give this one a try. There we go. And There we go. So this is the British Council grammar site. Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, okay, yes, Nazi, the, yep, the Cambridge Dictionary is absolutely for idioms, and it'll have most of the common speech. And here, I'll give you this link in the chat as well. So, okay, now back to grammar. So the British Council has an excellent site for grammar. You can do a grammar review at any of these levels. If you're going into IELTS, you'll need to be at B2. All right, so that will be important, B1 and B2. But starting at the very beginning, it's worth it to just scroll down and you'll see they're all single subject lessons. So your first challenge is to do a review. How many of level A1 to A2 do you know? When you go in, there's examples and a way to test your understanding. All right, so go through the test and you will get a score at the end to tell you if you, oh, I'm sending you all of these links, don't worry. So there we go. So here we are. All of these links we're going to be using throughout class, right? And so this is lots of interesting points of grammar, and it's absolutely the right place to start. So you can select from here as well. Right. So when you find a bit of grammar that you find interesting, put a link on the word board. Okay. And share with your classmates what you've been learning. If you want to create a WhatsApp group, you can. Definitely, if you want to send more useful links there. I've set up the Padlet so that we have a single place where we can keep collecting things. But thank you, Mohammed. Okay. If you want to set up a WhatsApp board, a WhatsApp page and group and share that with your students. In fact, the whole students from this cohort are welcome to do that. There's a reason that we can't as teachers. I'm not entirely sure, but there we are. Anyway, so this is a place to check your understanding. I will be assigning lessons in this as well, so watch that homework section. So I really want you to use the Padlet so that you get used to creating posts as well. It makes it open for everyone and easy to review for the purpose of this class. Okay, so thank you for that. Right, now we get to the meaty parts. 6-minute English, one of my absolute favorite ways of learning new vocabulary in context. So, loads of articles to listen to with a transcript to read along. Let's take a look at that one too. So, oh, no, wrong one. No, I've messed up. There we go. BBC Learn English. There we go. 6-minute English. There's a lot of resources on the BBC site. This is the one that I'll be using. Okay. So there's a lot of articles here. Find something that is interesting to you. Okay. So, um, and what I'd like to do is actually listen to one of those. So let's try. Oh, very good. Well done. Excellent. So here's a link to the 6-minute English. There we go. And ooh, actually, I'm going to stop sharing and reshare because we're going to practice listening now. Okay. So I'm going to have to stop sharing for a moment so that I can add the sound to it because I didn't set that up the first time. At this moment, any questions at all? Um, so let me reshare. Oh, and put that away. There we go. And share again. There we are. Push screen. Go. Yes. Oh, there's the share. Sorry, I was looking for the share sound button. They changed Zoom recently and I couldn't find it. There we go. This time I'm sharing the sound as well. Good. Okay. So let's find out what it means if we're addicted to sugar. Are we addicted to sugar? So let's go and look at this one. So as you see, when you click on one of these, you've got the article to listen to. It's not a video. And it has a transcript that you can follow along. So here's a summary with the question, some vocabulary, and then there is a transcript so you can follow along while you're listening. All right. So everybody ready? Let's listen to an article and you can tell me what is new vocabulary for you.
6-minute English.
From bbclearningenglish.com.
Can you hear it properly? Was that good? Okay.
Hello, this is 6-minute English from BBC Learning English. I'm Neil.
And I'm Georgie. Would you like a cup of tea, Neil?
Oh, yes, thanks, Georgie. With milk and 3 sugars, please.
3 sugars? Wow, you really have a sweet tooth. You like eating sweet things. Aren't you worried about your weight?
Yes, but I can't say no to sugar. Just as our addiction to oil is causing a climate emergency, our addiction to sugar is causing a health emergency for our bodies. Sugar gives us an instant hit of the chemical hormone dopamine, making us feel good, but in the long run causing obesity, tooth decay, and diseases like diabetes.
But how did our addiction to the sweet stuff begin? That's what we'll be discussing in this programme, and as usual, we'll be learning some useful new vocabulary as well. Anyway, here's your tea, Neil. I just put 1 sugar.
Thanks, Georgie. I'll give it a try. Now, before we go on, I have a question for you. Sugarcane, which grows naturally in Asia, Africa, and the Americas, first came to England in the 11th century. Back then, it was an expensive luxury item, affordable only to kings, queens, and the very rich. So, which English monarch loved eating sugar so much their teeth turned black? Was it A, King Henry VIII, B, Queen Elizabeth I, or C, Mary, Queen of Scots?
I know Henry VIII was very unhealthy, so I'll guess it's him.
OK, Georgie, we'll find out the answer later in the programme. Just now, I compared sugar to oil as the world's most important commodity. A commodity is a product or natural resource that can be traded, bought, and sold. Today, economies, governments, and wars are based on controlling oil, but in earlier centuries, the same was true of sugar.
For 400 years, sugar, along with coffee and tobacco, was grown in slavery plantations and shipped across the Atlantic Ocean to Europe. By the time slavery was ended in 1834, the demand for sugar in Europe and the United States was at a record high. Here's Professor of International History, Ulba Bosma, explaining more to BBC Radio 4 programme Thinking Aloud.
Sugar was already an extremely important commodity in the 16th and 17th and 18th century. And in the 19th century, we see a staggering growth of sugar consumption in Europe and the United States. And with that, sugar became the fuel for human bodies, whereas oil became the fuel for vehicles in the 20th century.
Professor Bosma talks about the staggering growth in the popularity of sugar. The adjective staggering means shocking or surprising. Just like oil became the fuel for machine engines, sugar became the fuel for the human body. Fuel is a substance that is burned to provide heat or power.
Trading companies had become rich selling sugar grown using slave labour. When people began to realise the health problems of sugar in the 20th century, these companies needed new ways to sell their product and began using sugar in food which had previously contained none, food like bread, cereal and yoghurt. Here's Professor Bosma again, taking up the story for BBC Radio 4's Thinking Aloud.
You can flood the market with a certain commodity, with sugar in this case, but that still does not mean that people will consume it. So the eating habits of people had to change. People, until the early 19th century, they had a few spoons of sugar per week, but not a kilo, which people consume today in many countries in the world.
Sugar companies flooded the market with their commodity. If you flood the market, you make a lot of your product available for sale, often at a low price.
But just because something is cheap and easily available doesn't mean people will eat it. So sugar companies tried to increase sugar consumption by changing people's eating habits, the way a group of people eat. For example, which types of food they eat, how much of it and how often.
Instead of 1 or 2 spoons of sugar per week, people started eating kilos, with results we see around us every day. Worldwide, obesity and heart disease have tripled in the last 50 years. What's more, because sugary food is cheaper, it's often the poorest in society who are worst affected.
Maybe it's time to try having your tea without any sugar, eh, Neil? And to reveal the answer to your question, which English monarch's famous love of sugar turned their teeth black, I guessed it was the notorious overeater, Henry VIII.
Which was the wrong answer, I'm afraid, Georgie. In fact, during the years before toothpaste and dentist, those black, stumpy teeth belonged to Queen Elizabeth I. OK, let's recap the vocabulary we've learned from this programme about sugar, starting with a sweet tooth, a fondness for eating sweet, sugary food and drinks.
A commodity is a product or natural resource that can be traded, bought and sold.
Fuel is a substance such as oil or coal that is burned to provide heat or power.
The adjective staggering means very shocking and surprising.
If a company floods the market, they release a lot of a particular product for sale, often at a low price.
And finally, eating habits describe the way a particular group of people eat. For example, which types of food they eat, how much and how often. Once again, our 6 minutes are up. Join us again soon for more trending topics and useful vocabulary here at 6 Minute English. Goodbye for now.
Bye.
6 Minute English.
From bbclearningenglish.com.
Right. What did you think? What did you think? Yes? Good? Okay. Did you learn something new? Annette, did you want to say? Great. Excellent. It's a great phrase, isn't idiom, flood the market. It really, they do a terrific job on this. I'm glad you like it. Great. I hope that you will do more and tell us about them on the storyboard. Okay, so do tell us about them and on, I'll include the link to this one in case you want to listen again. There you go. So, oops, that didn't work. Wait a minute. I need everybody. Let's try that again. There we go. Marvelous. So thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed that. It's like I said, it's a good way to work on your listening because they do speak very clearly. I like the fact that also they have audio of other people speaking, so you get some non-English focused pronunciation as well as their very clear pronunciation when they go over the language. So great. I hope you will get a lot out of that. I look forward to seeing on the Padlet all the things that you've been doing. And off we go to our next adventure, which is, and this one is absolutely, if you want to build your grammar understanding in English, read articles here. I'm doing it in German and it's helping so much. I can't tell you how much. So let me show you news in levels. This is absolutely my favorite place to learn a language. So a wide range of news articles, 3 levels of grammar. So the first level is in simple, short sentences in the present tense. The second level has got compound sentences. And the third level has compound and complex sentences. So that structural development that we're going to work on through this class is completely in line, it is shown in these articles. So enough about that. Let's go look at it. So there we go. Oh, news in levels. My favorite place for news. Loads of interesting articles. I was looking at this one previously. So every day there'll be new articles. You can select a level, but let me show you the best way to go. Scroll down through, find an article that looks interesting to you, because if you're interested, you'll remember it. Okay. Don't read something boring, but read something new. Now, they can look very complicated, but they're not. And if we go to this one I was looking at earlier, and here we have level 1. So if we read this, and you can read it out loud, you'll find all of the sentences are in the present tense. Okay, all of the presents, levels, yep, newsandlevels.com.
Sorry, can I ask you a question?
Yes?
For the 6 minutes, BBC 6 minutes, we need
Yes.
to repeat again, for example, in 2 days or 3 days, we only listen to one article to learn all the words and the things, or it's better that every day we listen to the new article?
Um, this is good. um, I like the idea of read or listen to something that is interesting to you. All right. If you want to listen to it again, great. There's a magic thing. Think about your home language. Think about your first language. When you read or listen to something in that, do you remember every single word?
No.
You'd go crazy. If we remembered absolutely everything that we read, we would absolutely go crazy. One challenge in learning a new language is remembering that we don't understand, we don't focus on every single word in our first language. Read something in your first language and see how many words you skip over, how you work on understanding the general idea. Reading every word is not actually the way to learn the language. More exposure is in some ways better. If there's a word that's interesting to you and you want to replay it so that you really understand that word, excellent reason. Okay. If you feel like you understood the article and you got what you wanted out of it, move on. Listen to something new. All right. Find the next thing that's interesting to you. Something that makes your eyes light up to read. And you can look that one up on the word page.
Thank you so much.
All right. Your interest will deepen your learning. What you're interested in, you remember. What you're not interested in, right, in one ear and out the other. This has been my frustration in learning other languages is so much of the learning material is not interesting to me. And if I can't be interested in it, I just can't remember it, which means I waste a lot of time doing stupid exercises that just don't stick. It only counts if it's sticky, if it stays in your head. If you care about it, you'll remember it. All right. So, have you read a little bit of this? All right. Do you understand what's happening in this story? Who's doing what? What's happening in this story? I can try and make it bigger if it would help. Or is that okay? Okay. So, what is this story about? Can you tell me in the chat? So this is level 1, and it's yeah, rubber. It's got something about climate change, doesn't it? It's about farmers and their crops. Excellent. Think about who did what or who's doing what. Growing cocoa in the Ivory Coast, exactly. Why are they changing? Can you say what is the change that is happening? Cash crops, exactly. They need crops that will make them enough money. And function. So What is the problem with growing cocoa? Why are they growing rubber? Yes, very good. Excellent. Excellent. So you understand the story. You understand the whole story. And this is what's really helping me with my German right now. I can use that first level to really understand what the story is about because it's easy enough. And so if we go to level 2, you will see that immediately, instead of 2 short sentences at the beginning, look at that, we have 2, they have become 1 compound sentence. Instead of 2 sentences in the present tense, we now have a compound sentence with but in the middle, a conjunction, sticking that sentence together. So we've gone up 1 level in grammar. If this is a little harder, that's all right. You already know what the article is about, don't you? Exactly. Now they've got a bit more data and a little bit more difficult vocabulary. Exactly. So once again, still simplified, compound sentences, right? And if we go to level 3, the thing is, even if this is difficult for you, you already know what it's about. So that whole thing where we skip half the words in our first language, you can do this now because you know what you're reading. And here we go. At the final level, yes, there is an audio of it as well. At the final level, you now have compound and complex sentences and all the verb tenses. All right. So if you read through the 3 levels, when you read an article, you will increase your understanding of the language, of how the language works. It's okay if it's too hard at level 3, just keep working your way up. All right. So you already know what it's about. So just read it. You don't have to understand every word. Okay, because you know what the article is about. So there we go. Well, this brings us up. Do you want to listen to it as well? Shall we? Okay.
Ivory Coast, the world's largest cocoa producer, is seeing a shift among farmers toward rubber cultivation. Farmers find rubber farming cheaper and less labor-intensive. Cocoa gets harvested once or twice a year, whereas rubber provides a monthly income. This shift worries the cocoa industry, as small-scale farmers, who provide 90% of the global supply, are turning to rubber. It could lead to higher chocolate prices. Ivory Coast's natural rubber production rose from 170,000 tons to 1.5 million tons between 2019 and 2022, placing it among the top 3 global producers. Climate change and high production costs are driving this change. Rubber trees demand less effort and offer stable prices, ensuring financial stability for farmers. Without support from the cocoa industry, cocoa farming may decline, increasing chocolate prices.
Right. So I'm putting a few extra words definitions into the chat. So these are kinds of extra words that you can find. These are extra words that you can look up in the Cambridge Dictionary as well. All right. So, right. That is those are the primary tools that we'll be using through this class. And all of this is to support what we'll be doing in our structural grammar. So we're going to be starting at the beginning with the basic English sentence. The English sentence is like a stack of bricks. And there's one brick at the bottom. You can see what it is. I've told you already. It's the verb. Can you think of a sentence that has only one word in it in English? It's possible. You can make a sentence with only one word. If you can think of one, put it in the chat. There we go. Yes. And Sophia, you've got it. We've got if you put a exclamation point. Yes, only verbs. Only verbs. So let me, sorry, I just lost the plot. Insert, yeah. Xbox, there we go. All right. My favorite one, the one I used most when my sons were tiny and 2 and 3 years old and running around, I very often had to say, it's a full sentence, believe it. Oops. Let's move this really big. So very often. So the main part, so an English sentence has a subject, a verb, and an object. Oh, come on. Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have a typist. Okay, subject, a verb, and an object. But in sentences, in the shortest sentences in English, the subject and the object are silent. So if I shout at my son because he's running to my 2-year-old son used to do this all the time. He would run straight for the street. And I'd say, stop. So what's the subject of that sentence? The subject. Oh, come on. Let me do this. There we go. So the subject is you. Making a mess again. There, turn that off. You. Well, what you are doing. Right. So there we go. That's a sentence. Because the subject and the object are silent, we can make a sentence out of a verb. Can you make a sentence without a verb? Never. Never. It's got to have an active verb. Got to have an active verb. So, like I said, just like the bricks, if that verb isn't there, you have got nothing holding up the rest of your sentence. And this also works with listen. You know, we could do listen. Okay, I'm just doing one. So you came up with several good ones. So listen's a little more subtle, right? Yeah, the verb is the beginning and end of everything. So again, insert. So what is the, once again, we've got, yeah. Well, you know what? I'm just going to copy this. I'm so lazy. It's just, I'm so bad at typing. So I'm just going to copy this down. Only we're going to change this. Once again, our subject is silent, and that's you. And listen. And what's the object on that one? I say, listen. Yes. Listen to this. Listen to what's happening. Listen to something that is being said or heard. Exactly. So, how does this work? We've got a couple of things. Oops, wow, we've got 3 minutes. All right, I'm going to show you what we're going to start with next week. All right, so here we are. We've got the 3 main questions. Or the one main question, who did what? That's our core sentence. Every time we write a sentence, you can find somewhere in that sentence who did what. All right. It will have a subject, a verb, and an object of some form. But what about all the other questions? So we learn this, and it's very frustrating in a new language to only be able to speak like a very small child. Oh, it's so frustrating. So what about all of the other things we want to say? Well, this is what we're going to be working on. How do we answer all of these other questions? So right now we've got a who did what. Ali went to the shop. Well, when did he go? There's so much we don't know. When? Which shop did he go to? How did he get there? Where was that shop? Why did he go to the shop? Right? All of these questions we can answer with adjectives, adverbs, and clauses. And getting really good at using clauses is going to make you a fluent and comfortable English speaker, right? And writer. And that's what we're aiming for. Okay. Welcome to all of English Online. Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me today for this. It's going to be an exciting ride. I hope you will enjoy it as much as I love working with you. So next week, we're going to start with a serious focus and some exercises and some writing together. And we're going to do a lot of writing together with this building up that structure so that everything works. So your beautiful ideas don't turn into word salad. And the great thing is you're going to learn all of the structure here and go break all the rules in, or use the rules to your advantage and break them beautifully when you want to in the creative writing. Please get your extra exercise there. the more important the writing is to you, the more you will remember and the better your language will become. The better your English will be. So thank you, and I really can't wait to start on this next week. We're going to take a 5-minute break and start the IELTS portion of the class in just a few minutes. So thank you so much. The last page of this has got all of those links on it. You will get this set of slides as a PDF in the email too. All right. Thank you so much. And if you've got any questions, let me know. I think I'm going to stop the recording and start it again when we resume in 5 minutes, but I won't close the classroom. I'll keep that open. All right. Welcome back. And off we are on the second half of our class today. And this is the IELTS section of the class. So welcome back. While we're here, if it what would be wonderful, write in the chat, have you ever taken the IELTS before? So you can pop in the chat, who has taken the IELTS? Right. Have you taken the IELTS before? Ooh, we've got one yes in there, another yes. We'll take it soon. Okay, yes. Excellent. Not yet? Okay. Wonderful. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you for putting your answers in. That's brilliant. Okay, yes, you have taken it. Great. All the people who've taken it before, you can help me on all of this. If you've got different ideas of how it goes, what's needed, please challenge me. I like that. I love finding out people's experiences from it. It informs all of my teaching. So great. Excellent. So do pop in the chat if you've taken it before or not. So forgive me for a second. I'm gonna have there we are. All right, let's get to our PowerPoint on this and get through all of the descriptions and explanations of the exam. All right. So welcome to the day one of the IELTS exam class, preparation class. I've had lots of students get through with the marks they needed to get into the university they were striving for. Some have taken a two-step process where they got into one university for foundation year and then used that as a springboard to get into the university that they wanted. So lots of possibilities here, and my job is to show you what you need to do, to think, and to study in order to get the highest marks possible for you. So that's the object of this class. So today we're going to do an overview of the exam, and I'm definitely taking questions. So feel free to use the chat or give a shout if you've got an important question, a question that you really need answered. Reading is a challenge. Excellent. Great, Sophie. We're going to be looking at the reading next week. We're going to start with that. The biggest focus on this exam, it is unlike any exam, any other exam. And those of you who've taken it before can tell me if I'm wrong or add your opinion to it as well. There's no memorization. It's not like other exams where you really have to just learn a particular set of information and then make sure that you can talk about it, explain it, use it in an exam. That's not what this exam is about. This is about communication. It's communicating in the English language. So the listening is, can you understand what's being said? And the reading is, can you understand what you're reading? And then in the expressive sections, can you speak and in a way that other people can understand what you are trying to say? Can you get your message across? Oh no! Oh, I hope we can fix that, Chakia. I really hope so. That nobody should be crying in this exam. Okay. We're gonna okay, I'm gonna fix the reading test for you, I promise. Okay. And then last of all, can you write in a way that is academically acceptable and that is logical and that so that other people can understand what you're trying to say? So it's all about communication. There is nothing to memorize for this. There's some people out there who will say, oh yes, memorize this vocabulary list. Stay away from those people. Don't listen to them. The worst thing you can do is memorize a vocabulary list, because what you don't have is the context. What did we just learn in the previous class when we were listening to the article from 6 Minute English? That's how you get your vocabulary, by listening to it in context, preferably about something that is important to you. Right. The writing is also, there are techniques to all of these things. And once you know the techniques and skills, they are very counterintuitive. Who knows what counterintuitive means? Can you write it in the chat? What's counterintuitive? Have you heard this one before? Anybody? Vocabulary challenge. Counterintuitive. Yes, it's against your intuition. It seems wrong. Yeah. Something that is counterintuitive, seems wrong, but is actually right. Okay. Counterintuitive that seems crazy. Why would you do that? It makes no sense, right? So this is going to be full of things like learning how not to read in the reading exam, how not to get your pencil down on the paper and start writing immediately in the writing exam. All of these things are counterintuitive. They seem crazy. They seem wrong. Wait a minute. How can I don't have enough time to do that. You don't have enough time not to do that. So these are things that don't seem like they'll save you time or raise your mark, but they will. And I promise this has been tested by my students and lots of other people. So let's get on with this. Enough of me babbling. So the format, there are 4 parts to the exam: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. The listening, reading, and writing will be in one block when you take the exam. The speaking will either be before or after. It can be even on another day. The speaking is always in person. So, how do you know what band you need? The band scores go from 1 to 9. 1, nobody takes the exam at a 1. They correlate to the CFER reference in roughly this manner. So if you are A2, then you can start thinking about taking the exam. All right. B2 is where you will need to be, or at least approaching, in order to get into a foundation year university. Otherwise, it will take a little more work. So you'll see where these match up. And here's the crazy thing. There's only one exam to cover all these levels. Crazy, right? So, like I said, unlike any other exam you've ever taken, this one you will be expected not to be able to answer some of the questions, because some of those questions are written to distinguish between the band 8 and 9 users. All right, so if a question is there to distinguish, to allow them to mark one person at band 9 and one person at band 8, that question is not necessarily going to be the question that a band 6 or band 7 or band 5 user is going to be able to answer. All right, so these are the ones. Now, the questions for these levels, yeah, those are the super easy questions. Those are the ones you can answer immediately. All right, but what we're aiming for is getting really good at answering these questions, recognizing these questions so that we can ignore them. All right, if you've got extra time at the end, sure, go back and try one of those questions that you were having difficulty understanding the question, right? But focus on answering all the easy questions first. 7 to 7.5, fantastic. Excellent, Sophia. Let's see how it goes. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I keep ending up in personal. There we go. Oh, excellent. Excellent. Okay. Very good. So somehow I keep ending up doing direct messages instead of, that's what's happening. I have no idea what you were. All right, we'll get there. All right, Akko, I hope that we will get there. Stay with me. So how are the scores calculated? You get an individual score for each level, for each exam, and these are averaged together, and that gives your final band level. Some universities will require all of the individual exams to be at a certain level with an overall score at the end as well. So fortunately, they have started doing a single subject retake at many centers. So if you've got, say, 7s and 7.5s in everything, but you got a 6.5 on one, that's a crazy score, and they want everything to be at the 7, you can retake the one that was too low. Okay, so there is a charge for that as well, but it is possible. All right, so as I said, we've got the receptive skills of listening and reading. Can you understand communication? and then the two expressive skills of writing and speaking. Can you communicate? And what we will be focusing on throughout all of this is understanding the questions. I want you laser focused. There's another idiom for you. You can look this up later if you don't know what it means, or someone else can. Focused. What does it mean? What's the idiom mean to be laser focused? We're going to be laser focused on the questions, because if we fully understand the questions, the answers are easy. Yeah. Okay. Very good. So, not mutual. So think about if you pinpoint something with a laser, like a laser pointer. That's what we mean by laser focus. We're going to look at that and only that. We're not going to be distracted by anything else. We're looking at those questions. And it doesn't matter which part of the test you're working on, it still will help you raise your score. Okay, so off we go. So the reading test. Everyone's nemesis, the reading test. Yes, high possible focus, really good. Narrow focus, very good. All right, the reading test is 60 minutes long. You will be writing your answers on an answer sheet. Spelling counts. There is a way that you can avoid problems with capitalization, especially if you're coming from a language that does not have capitalization. And that is, you can write in all caps. If it's a handwritten paper and you print in all capital letters, you won't get any marks off for capitalization. It's one of the few little get out clauses they've got there. 3 documents with a total length of up to 2,750 words. Right. It is in 3, there's 3 documents. They are written for non-specialist audiences. So they will be articles like the ones in BBC 6-Minute English, and obviously not with the extra grammar definitions, but those kinds of topics, right? They will be topical articles like what you will find in News and Levels and in BBC 6-Minute English. That's why I want you to do those. The more you read, the more you listen to topics that are new to you, it will stop you being surprised. Okay, if you have a general English level. So at this point, nothing is going to be topic specific. There is no part of science that you need to study in order to have the right language for this. What you need is a wide level, a wide vocabulary. And so that's all of our exercises are going to be for expanding that vocabulary. And that's what all of those resources in the first half of this lesson were about. So do you think that you can read 3 academic articles in 60 minutes whilst answering 40 questions? There's a reason this is the hardest part. Even examiners and teachers have a hard time with the reading. It is. There's the one perfect answer to this: don't read. It sounds crazy. Like I said, many of these skills are totally counterintuitive. That's one of them. But I'm going to show you how it works. If you read the questions, you will know what those articles about. And you will be able to find the information quickly. And you are going to prove it to me next week. So, and here's that magic. Remember I said you don't have to answer all of the questions to get the mark you need? So with this chart, how many questions do you need to answer to get a 7.5? Answers in the chat. How many questions do you need to answer? So what does that mean? How many can you get wrong? Get 7 questions wrong. Yep, 6 to 7 questions wrong and still get a 7.5. If you need a 6 to a 6.5 will get you into most universities in the UK. So if you only need a 6, right, how many questions can you get wrong if you need a 6? It's incredible, isn't it? Yeah, 14 questions wrong. So is there any reason to panic in the exam? No. And that's what I'm hoping to help you with, is to make you feel less afraid so that you know you've got the tools and you know what you need to achieve. Because there is absolutely no reason to try and answer the last 4 questions on this exam. You don't need them. They're not written for you. It's okay. Just let them go. All right. So what we'll be doing, we will be starting with the reading exam, and it is, I do hope that I can assuage a lot of fears and you can start seeing how easy this exam can be. Right, so the listening test. Once again, we've got 40 questions, but only 30 minutes this year. If this time for this exam, if you are taking the paper exam, you will also have 10 minutes at the end to transfer your answers from the question sheet to an answer sheet. And this is where you can check and make sure that your spelling and is correct and the form of your question is correct. There's a few things that will be very important to focus on, and when we do the listening test, I will show you those. You need to understand the instructions on this one as well. It starts with a conversation between 2 people, someone calling up for information about a club or a library or something of that sort. The second will be a monologue with someone talking about a holiday resort or a special project or program available, something available with the city. So usually, or even just talking about what's available at the library. The third is slightly more difficult. It's a conversation between up to 4 people, usually no more than 3. And it's in an academic setting. So it will either be students talking with a professor or students talking amongst themselves about a class project. And then the fourth is a monologue on an academic subject, which is basically an oral version of one of those documents from the reading test. So it's at the same level. It will be on an academic subject, but at a common level. So no specialist knowledge required. Again, on the listening test, The most important thing, it doesn't matter how well you listen, if you don't understand the questions, you won't hear the answer. Yeah, not as hard as the reading. So yeah, at the final levels, you will be listening for synonyms and for wider ideas, development of the argument. So once again, the questions are your key. If you understand the questions, you'll hear the answer. If you don't understand the question, no amount of listening will help. So this is why questions, questions, questions. It's all about reading and understanding the questions in all of the exams, all part of it, all parts of it. Well, that's great. Oh, I'm glad that's good for you. Right. So once again, look at the band level that you need. If you don't know what band level you need, look at one of the universities that you're considering. And if you look in their admissions, they will tell you what band level you need for admission. All right. So look at your band level. How many questions can you get wrong on this exam? Very good. Very good. It's kind of a relief when you say, wait a minute, okay, I don't have to. I go through life. If I have to take a test, if I'm not getting 100% on all of my practices, I think I'm failing. It's a common feeling. It really is. And it's one of those that you really have to let go of in order to succeed on this exam. The more you let go of that, I've got to get 100%. No, you don't. It's going to be okay. All right. Okay. So there we go, the writing test. And here's once again where now the listening test, it's not so counterintuitive. You got to understand the questions in order to know what to listen to. Did you know the first thing you have to do on the writing test is not write? That's it. Don't write. It's crazy. Everyone looks at the word count and says, oh my God, I gotta write 250 words. I need to start writing now or I won't get there. No. There's a little problem. If you do that, you're missing half the marks. Absolutely, you will miss half the marks if you do that. Okay, so let's look at it. You've got 2 writing exams and 60 minutes to write 2 documents. So you need to, once again, laser focused on what your task is. All right. The first one, you will be given visual data. It might be a map. It might be a process diagram. It could be a chart or a graph. You have to look at that data and describe it. That's what they're testing for. Can you look at visual data and describe it accurately? Can you see the relationships between different parts of what you are looking at? There you go. That's it. So when we work on task 1, I am going to give you an absolute formula that you can use that will give you the points you need. It will take your ability to see it and turn that into the band level that you need. Okay. We'll do some work on, and I'll give you some resources on description of data, language to describe data. And that will help. But having the right formula is the key. And before you put your pencil down, you absolutely must make notes for every idea that you want to include in that essay. What do you want to include? And what examples are you going to use? Make those notes, whether it takes 2 minutes or 5 minutes, and this you can practice over and over and over again. You don't even have to write the whole essay. Just practice sitting there, looking at it, and deciding exactly what you're going to say to describe it, and making notes. If you can get fast at that, there's your time management. Because now, if you spend 2 to 5 minutes deciding what you're going to write, now when you put your pen down, you will write in a logical order. Yes, I do mean plan. You need to make a plan. That's exactly right, Ali. If you make a plan, and I can tell immediately when people hand me things, have they planned or have they not? If you don't plan, you will repeat yourself. We all do it. You will use the same phrase over and over. You will get halfway through one argument and remember something and put something in that is not part of that description. It will be confused. It won't be orderly. And it won't be logical. And you'll repeat yourself. And those are all things that will lower your mark. A plan is how you make sure those things are in the right place. Same with the essay. You're given a prompt, a question, an idea, something to create an opinion about. And you have 40 minutes to write this. Don't panic. 250 words is a lot less than you think. Once again, the 5 minutes of brainstorming, planning at the beginning will make the difference between the mark you want and not. That plan is how you get half of your score. So let me see what else I've got written here. These are the 4 things that you are marked on. Content. Did you understand the task and write about all of the relevant parts? Organization of ideas. Is there a logical progression in your writing? Are your paragraphs clear and focused? Sophia, some people prefer to, okay, Sophia's got a good point. Some people prefer to write the long essay first and the short one second. I like doing, I mean, it is entirely personal. Try it both ways. I've got lots of practice exams for you. So try it both ways. See how you feel. I like task 1 as a warm-up because you're focused, it's simple, you've got a really straightforward task to do. You can basically, check boxes off and make sure, have I got an overall statement? Have I described exactly what this thing looks like? Have I described the interactions that I see? Have I given accurate examples for each of my statements? Well, if you've done that, you're done. Go to the next one. You've got idea time. Okay, I've gotten the technical piece out of the way. Now I've got idea time. But once again, like I said, try it both ways. Whichever way works best for you is the best way. So, vocabulary, do you have the words you need to discuss an everyday topic? Once again, this is where BBC English, 6-Minute English is going to really boost things, and News and Levels. Yeah, Jackie, that's my opinion too. I think task 1 and get it out of the way. Those are the 4. So look, there are 4 criteria. All right. It's called task achievement or task response. That's number 1. And coherence and cohesion is number 2. So this is actually 1. So, vocabulary and grammar are 2 of the marks, but that's 2 out of 4, okay? If you plan, you will get task achievement or response and coherence and cohesion. And then your grammar and vocabulary level can shine. If you don't plan, you will miss half your marks. Half the marks. All right. It's you'll see. We'll do more on this, and I hope that through the exercises we do together, it will become really obvious that this is the fastest way to write anything. Okay. Any questions about the writing exam at all at this point? Yes, task 2 has a higher weight. Yes, it does. It's by the percentage of time. Okay, it's 20 minutes for so that is 1/3 of the mark, and task 2, that essay, is another 1/3 of the mark. So yes, those are averaged together to get your writing score. So. All right. So on to the speaking test. The speaking test actually, oh, wait a minute. How can you broaden your knowledge in common topics? News and levels. News and levels and BBC 6-minute English. Oh, yeah, when we get specifically into how many points do you write? It depends on what you need. It does depend on what you need, Samuel. The best thing you can do to raise your coherence, cohesion, and your lexical resource and your grammar and accuracy is to provide examples. If you give a concrete example, how to count the words. Ooh, you don't count during the exam. If you're going to be taking the paper exam, then you need to be doing your practice essays on lined paper. And I'll give you so if you write your essays on lined paper, you can then, with one of your practice exams, with all of your practice exams, obviously, you'll be counting the words and count the number of lines that you've filled when you do that. You'll know then, if I've got 10 lines, I have 200 words written. So I need 15 more, or 5 more lines, another sentence, a really elegant conclusion, and I've got my word count. For the most part, the word count takes care of itself. If you cover the topic thoroughly, if you follow all of the requirements, you will have more than enough words written by the time you're done. So if we're looking at the first one, yes. So when you're in the exam, when you're practicing the exam, write on lined paper and count the number of lines that you've written for the number of words. Do a word count thoroughly, count all the words, and then see how many lines you've written. So how many lines of your handwriting equals 250 plus words? Right. That way, when you're in the exam, you don't have to count words. You can just see that, okay, I need 3 more lines, and and my word count's full. But my hope is that through our practices, you will find that you don't actually have to think about the word count, because we've got things to achieve here, all right? You need to describe and explain some data, right? You can't do that thoroughly in less than 150 words. All right. If you've got less than 150 words, you've left something out. So put in an example that'll fill out the word count. It's not, it's really not exam. Oh, yes. We'll get there. There is one on the Take IELTS website from the British Council, but I'm going to give you a resource as well today. And the same with this. You can't write an essay and give examples supporting it with relevant details without writing at least 250 words. If you've written less, you missed something. Okay, so it's not about trying to make sure you've got enough words on the paper. It's trying to make sure that you've got done all of the things you need to do. All right, focus on the task and the words will take care of themselves. I promise. Yes, Sophia.
So, ma'am, if we write an accurate piece of writing, but we don't write in the amount they're asking for, so can we get the score, the complete score?
Under a certain number of words, there is a penalty, and I will absolutely say that if you have written under 150 words in task 1, then you need to add another example. It's as simple as that. Examples are, yes, definitely. There should be, well, both of these PowerPoints will be going out to you as PDFs, and they'll be available to you as PDFs with all the links on them. All right, so we've only got 10 minutes left, so let's hurry through the rest of this. But I genuinely guarantee you that if you haven't got enough words, then you've missed something. All right, so focus on the task, make sure you've got all the parts of the task, and you'll have enough words, I promise. The speaking test. So face-to-face interview, by the time, it's a conversation. If you treat it like a conversation with a friend, you'll sail through. It will be fine. All right. It will be good. They are not looking for information. They are looking for communication. All right. There's no particular, you can't have an opinion they don't like. It doesn't matter. What matters is, can you communicate what you mean to say? All right. And can you do it fluently? So the beginning is an introduction. Hello, my name is, followed by some questions about, so are you working or are you studying at the moment? Where do you live? Do you like where you live? That sort of thing. It's very simple. There's a challenge. So places that you can practice speaking. I'm going to work on that. Okay, good challenge. I will work on that. Okay. It's something, actually, you know what? Maybe I can set this up so that you guys can work with each other as well. That might be a good use for the WhatsApp group as well, to like people arrange to do this speaking together. Pi app, what's that? I'll have to find out. Okay, so and the introduction and interview, and then you are handed a card with a topic on it. It'll be a general topic, maybe about celebrities, maybe about advertisements, maybe about television in the classroom. It could be anything, just about anything. And you are asked to take a minute and prepare what you are going to talk about and speak for up to 2 minutes. Like the writing exam, your preparation will determine how well you do. Okay? Write down examples that you want to give. Write down little notes that tell you, oh, yes, and then I'm going to tell about this. And the more personal you can make it, the easier it will be for you to speak, and the easier it will be for you to think of details and examples to use. So make notes of that. I have had many students come back to me and say, thank you. Thank you. I did make the notes, and about halfway through, I forgot what I was going to say next. And I looked down and I looked up and I could keep speaking. So it works. It really does. Make those notes in that minute. It's really important. It's as important as the plan in the writing. Give yourself that help. I always talk about giving my future me a present. When I do something that I know I'm going to use later, yeah, a little present for future me. So, like setting up the coffee machine before I go to bed, so I don't have to think about it in the morning. It's a little present for future me. Those notes are a gift to future you, because a minute later, future you is really going to thank you. So after that are questions that are talking about that topic, but in a broader context. Okay, in a broader context. So how do you think that this issue affects the wider world? How was this done in the past? What do you think the future of this topic will be? And that's all to help you use wider, deeper, stronger vocabulary and grammar. Okay, they are pulling it out of you. The examiner is actually your advocate. Their task, their job, what they are instructed to do is to see how high you can go. And that's what those questions are there for, to help you use conditionals, speculative language. Can you speak in hypotheticals? Can you, how far can you go? That's what they're trying to pull out. And I'll show you, there's a great set of recordings that will show you the kinds of questions that you're facing and how, and you can see how they're trying to get you to use the speaker to use more language. Great. So next, all of these, yeah. So once again, we're looking at 4 criteria: fluency. That's how easily do you speak? Do you, are there long pauses where you just can't find the next word? Or can you keep speaking? Vocabulary range. Do you have enough words to talk about this subject fluently? Grammatical range and accuracy. So how accurate is your language? By the way, even at levels, even at bands 8 and 9, you're allowed to make mistakes. They don't expect perfection at any level. But above a 5, once you at level 6, you can make your mistakes don't cause any confusion. They don't stop the person understanding what you're trying to say. All right. And pronunciation. It's not about accent, it's about clarity. All right. So that's all that matters, is clarity, not accent. And I'll give you some resources from them. Okay. There is fMRI imaging that proves and shows that when you go into an exam and you get that feeling of panic or anxiety, and your mind goes completely blank, it's real. There's fMRI images that show this happening. There's a change in the blood flow in your brain when you feel anxiety. So this is because we're all descended from people who saw the wolves and ran. Okay. Oh, those are the people we're descended from. What? Yes. That is on the, yes, I will. Okay. The homework for both classes is the same, which is the resources that I gave in the English class. And those are on the Padlet. I really want you to use it. Okay, please do. I will include them in the PDF as well when this is downloaded. So anyway, it's a switch. We feel anxiety, our brain shuts off. It's what saved our lives back when we were running away from the wolves. Now we need to tell our brain that that's an exam. It's not a wolf. It's not going to eat me. And I really need to think right now. So the way we do that the fMRI images show that if you take a big, deep breath, the blood flow returns to the higher functions of your brain. And there's imaging. This is real. I'm not making it up. It's not woo. It's science. This happens. Think about if you're crossing a road and a car's coming towards you, you go, you run to the pavement. As soon as you're safe on the pavement, wow, okay, I'm safe. That big deep breath turns your brain back on. It's your way of telling that lower function of your brain, I'm safe. It's okay. Every time you study, every time you work, big deep breath before you start, because then when you get into the exam, you will not have to worry about, oh, am I breathing? No. Just do it every time you study. And every time you sit down at this exam, you will automatically take a big deep breath and everything will be fine. Brain will work. You'll remember all my instructions and you'll ace it. Okay. Right. So here is the resource list. So I really want you to use News and Levels this week. Read a new story, learn something new. Okay, so the ABC 4 and 4, 6 minutes, sorry, 6-minute English. And the other one, there's practice resources. So take a look and make sure that you can get to, whoop, there we go, copy link. This is my folder of practice exams, mock exams. All right. If you want to listen to some of the speaking this time, you can, copy link, there we go. You can go to this playlist of speaking exam. Sure. If you would like to follow another, I have, I've done the hard work. I've listened to a lot of lecturers, tutors on YouTube. There are there's a lot of very, very, very bad advice on YouTube. Okay. Please don't. Or if you listen to one that you think is useful, bring the link to me. Okay, send me the link. My email address is at the top of the PDF. the top of this as well. Let me just, I'll put that on there for you. Yep, there we go. Good thing. Okay, if you find a YouTube tutor that you like, then send it to me and I'll take a look. All right. But if you want to follow someone on YouTube, the one, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, there we go. Go away. I don't know. Oh, there we go. If you want to follow someone on YouTube, there's this lovely woman, Asya, and she is the only one I trust. Asya does fast track IELTS. Go spend some time on her channel. It's great. I love all of her work. She's the only one I've found on YouTube that gives the same critical skills advice without any, I've not found anything that she's done that I would say, no, don't listen to that. Everything is good. If you find someone else you like, please send them to me. I'll send me the link and I will happily look at it for you and give you my opinion. Like I said, there's a lot of bad advice, so try and stick with these. The homework is the same as the homework for the previous class. If you didn't get that link, then actually if we just, no, I can't do it that way. Let me just pull up the other one. Yep, there we go. So all of these here, I'll just do this. Please do use the Padlet. It's really good. Hopefully I don't know why there's U's in front of this. Oh, it's because of those stupid little marks. Okay. So long as the links work, that's all that matters. So do use the Padlet boards. If you want a complete homework assignment, I will always be adding assignments to the Padlet board. All right. So that's going to be my main. I did take the WhatsApp group, so I'll try and add things in there as well. So, right. Well, I have, as usual, gone over time. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to stop the recording now, and I look forward to seeing you next week. So.